Hi everyone, it's Tom and Hannah from Not Another Adventure.
Happy New Year, and I hope you're all doing well. So today we're going to share with you our top 5 favourite adventures of 2021. We're not going to do them in any particular order though, because we couldn't decide on our favourite, but we did manage to narrow it down to top 5.
Yeah, so in no particular order, here we go.
First on our list is Fenona Falls, which is a waterfall in the north of Pembrokeshire.
We first discovered this on a circular route, which we just happened to be doing. We didn't even plan on going to the waterfalls until we saw a sign, and then we thought, yeah, we'll check it out. And I'm so glad that we did, because we just fell in love with it.
We did. As soon as we walked towards the waterfall, just the entire area has got this kind of atmosphere that is really hard to describe unless you're there.
It's like we've stepped back in time, or into another world, in fact. There's even a legend surrounding the waterfall which says that the plunge pool is so deep that it leads to the Welsh otherworld of Annwn.
After we explored the waterfall and all the woodland above the waterfall, we saw this lady wild swimming and she just looked so at peace in the water. And we thought, we've got to come back and try this. We'd never really done wild swimming before.
Nope.
And we thought, let's give it a go. So a few weeks later, I think, we went back and we tried wild swimming in it. And it was freezing.
Yeah, it was really cold.
Oh my god, that is freezing.
Tom managed to go in first because he was a bit more brave than I was. But I did manage to go in the end, but I ran out basically straight away.
If you're in North Pembrokeshire, I'd recommend checking out this spot. It's just outside the national park, but it gets quite busy as a lot of the locals know about it, but it's not very touristy. And going from one waterfall to another, we're going to go to number 4, Aber Falls.
So Aber Falls is this massive waterfall in the north of Snowdonia. We'd never heard of this waterfall before, but we were having a trip in Snowdonia anyway.
Yeah.
And we were Googling things to see, and we saw this and we thought,
We got to go check it out.
but we didn't realise from the pictures how epic it would be. We parked up in the car park and I think it was about half an hour walk,
Yeah.
if that,
Yeah.
to the waterfall. And as you came closer to the waterfall, you could just hear it getting louder and louder, and you could just about see it in the distance, but it was only like that big. And as you came closer,
And just looked more and more up as just
so
got
big.
massive.
I think it's the biggest waterfall I've ever seen.
Yeah,
with my own eyes.
Tall. It's not the tallest in Wales, but it's certainly up there. The entire trip of Snowdonia was absolutely incredible, but this was probably our highlight.
Definitely. So next on our list is the trip that we took to the Forest of Dean, and it was the first chance we had to test out our car camper.
We built a camper conversion to fit in my little tiny Hyundai i20 because we wanted to buy a camper van, but we don't have enough money to buy a camper van, so we thought we'll give it a go, and we decided to test it out by going to the Forest of Dean. Neither of us had ever been to the Forest of Dean before, but we'd heard a lot about it, and our good friends Kerry and Kat from Tea and Valhalla told us about the sculpture trail, so we went and checked that out first, and I'm so glad we did because it was incredible.
Yeah, it was just filled with so many different sculptures, and there was this really big epic one called Cathedral.
Yeah.
Which was this big, stained glass window hanging up in the canopies. After the sculpture trail, we went and checked out Simmons Yat, the viewing point that everyone raves about being the best view in England. Then that night, we just found a little lay-by to pull into to sleep in our car camper, which...
Went really well, actually.
Yeah, for our first night, it went really well.
Really good.
And then we were quite well rested for the next day, where we went to Puzzlewood, which I think a lot of people might have heard of.
It's well worth a visit. You absolutely loved it.
Yeah,
it was
absolutely
amazing.
loved it.
It is genuinely like stepping back in time and seeing this rare ecosystem of ancient woodland. It is absolutely stunning.
I think the best thing about when we were there as well is when we arrived, we were the only people there.
Yeah.
And it was really foggy and a little bit rainy. And we decided, just on the off chance, to do it
Twice.
to do it again. And the second time we went around, the sun came out, but it was still really foggy, and it was just so beautiful.
Yeah.
And we saw so many wildlife when we went around. We saw loads of mushrooms and a little caterpillar and
Birds.
and a squirrel. It
was really nice.
It was really good.
Yeah. Number 2 was the Lake District. We probably couldn't pinpoint a particular part of the Lake District adventure that we did, because we just tried to cram in as much as we could in 48 hours. We mainly went wild swimming and checking out caves like Rydal Cave, which has been featured in season 2 of The Witcher, so if you want to get a good glimpse of what it looks like, check that out.
The main cave in Rydal is this massive cave with stepping stones leading into it, and it's just so dramatic.
There's also a second cave just under Rydal Cave, which you really have to climb to get up into.
It's not very accessible or
No.
exitable either.
No.
You basically had to
really-
use it as a slide to get out.
We really struggled to get up and down that cave, but it's well worth the challenge just to look inside it, to be honest. While we were at the caves, we got a message from the Chaos Diaries, who is another great YouTuber, who told us about this waterfall nearby, which we should go and check out. So we drove to Rydal Hall, parked up, and had a look around the grounds where there is this really cool waterfall.
With this amazing viewing station, which is so dramatic. And I can't believe that was just made for someone.
Just to observe a waterfall.
Yeah, it's amazing.
We then went wild swimming in Coniston Water, which was incredible and surprisingly warm.
It was so warm.
Surprisingly warm. It was quite chilly outside, and then you got into the water and it was really, really temperate. But yeah, the Lake District was definitely in our top 5 because it's the Lake District. Come on,
Yeah.
you gotta have it in your top 5. And then finally, we got number 1, and I said that this was in no particular order, but I think this is probably my favourite place we visited this year, just because of how secluded and remote it felt, and that is Twm Shwn Catty's Cave. The cave can be found just outside Llandovery in the Brecon Beacons, and it's on a nature reserve called Gwenffrwd Dinas, and the best part about it is it's free parking.
Twm Shwn Catty was a Welsh outlaw who was around in the late 1500s, and he was said to have hidden away from the law in this cave. And although we went here for the cave, we actually found that the walk to the cave was definitely the best bit of this little adventure.
It had it all. It had it all. It was a secluded valley, it was a bit of a scramble. Because it had just rained, the river was raging.
It was so
really
muddy and scrambly and slippery, but that just added to the fun of it.
It was just really dramatic. It used to be a really popular tourist destination, particularly for Victorians, but now it is so secluded. When we were there, we saw 2 people at the start, and then we didn't see anyone for the rest of it. And that's our top 5 favourite places we visited in 2021.
We hope that this video might have given you some inspiration of some places that you can go this year. We'd love to know down in the comments what your top 5 favourite places that you went to in 2021 were, because we need some inspiration of where to go this year.
If you want to see any of the adventures that we described today and you want to see them in more detail, we'll leave links to them in the description down below.
And if you want to join us in all the adventures we go on in 2022, then hit the subscribe button below.
But until then, we'll catch you on the next one.
Bye!
Bye.